There is a specific and often quietly exhausting pattern carried by a particular kind of person, a near total inability to ask for help, even during periods of genuine and significant struggle, even when the people around them would gladly offer support, if only they were asked. This person manages everything alone, presents a consistently capable exterior regardless of what is actually happening underneath it, and experiences something close to genuine physical discomfort at the mere thought of admitting they cannot handle a situation entirely by themselves. Carl Jung's understanding of the persona and its relationship to genuine dependency needs offers a precise explanation for why this particular pattern forms and why it proves so difficult to simply override through conscious decision. Jung believed that a persona built centrally around self-sufficiency and competence often develops as a genuine and effective early strategy, frequently in response to an environment where asking for help was met with disappointment, unavailability, or even active punishment, teaching the developing psyche that dependency itself was unsafe and that survival and approval depended on appearing consistently and convincingly to need nothing from anyone. This persona, once built, tends to work remarkably well by its own internal logic, producing real competence, real independence, and real external admiration, all of which reinforce the underlying belief that self-sufficiency is not simply a strategy, but the actual, safe, and correct way to exist in the world. This explains why simply deciding to ask for help more often rarely produces lasting change on its own, since the persona was never built through conscious reasoning that could be easily reasoned back out of. It was built through genuine early experience that taught, at a level considerably deeper than conscious decision, that dependency carries real danger. Asking for help for this particular person does not simply feel uncomfortable in some mild social sense. It can activate a genuine and old alarm connected to whatever early experience first taught that needing others was unsafe, producing a resistance that feels, in the moment, considerably stronger than ordinary reluctance or simple habit. Jung's understanding of the shadow adds an important further layer here. If the persona has been built entirely around competent self-sufficiency, then the capacity for genuine, comfortable dependency, allowing oneself to actually need and receive support from another person, often remains almost entirely undeveloped, existing only as disowned and unfamiliar territory rather than as a genuine available option. This means the difficulty is not simply emotional discomfort, layered on top of an otherwise complete capacity. It reflects an actual and specific developmental gap, a capacity for healthy dependency that never had the chance to form in the first place, precisely because circumstances required the opposite capacity to be built instead. This offers something genuinely important for anyone who recognizes this exhausting pattern in their own life. The inability to ask for help is not a simple character trait to be corrected through willpower or through repeatedly reminding oneself that other people are willing to help. It reflects a genuine developmental gap and an old, well-earned protective alarm, both of which require patient, deliberate work to address rather than a single decision to simply behave differently going forward. This suggests a genuinely useful and deliberately gradual practice for anyone who recognizes this pattern, rather than attempting to overhaul the entire pattern at once, which tends to trigger the old alarm at full strength and produce quick retreat back into familiar self-sufficiency. It helps to practice asking for help in small, genuinely low-stakes situations first, deliberately choosing moments where the actual risk of a negative outcome is minimal, in order to begin building real, felt evidence that asking does not reliably produce the disappointment or unavailability the old pattern learned to expect. This evidence accumulates slowly, but it is precisely this kind of repeated, low-stakes practice that gradually revises the underlying alarm, far more effectively than a single dramatic attempt at total change. There is real hope inside this understanding, because it means the capacity for healthy dependency, though currently underdeveloped, is not permanently unavailable. It can genuinely be built, the same way any underdeveloped capacity can be built through patient and deliberate practice. Once the pattern is understood accurately as a developmental gap requiring gradual construction, rather than a simple character flaw requiring only more willpower to overcome. Think honestly about your own relationship to asking for help, and consider whether you can trace the discomfort back to an early experience that first taught you that needing others carried real risk, rather than assuming this discomfort has always simply been an unchangeable part of who you are. If you recognize this pattern in your own life, right below the single word for the smallest, lowest stakes form of help you could realistically practice asking for this week. Naming it honestly and actually attempting it is often the first small step toward building a capacity that circumstances never allowed to develop naturally. Because the inability to ask for help, even during genuine struggle, was never, according to Carl Jung's understanding, simple stubbornness or excessive pride. It was the direct result of an early and genuinely well-founded lesson that dependency was not safe, and unlearning that lesson requires patience, not simply willpower.